What's good, YouTube? It's Nas, and we back with another video. Road to 1,000 subscribers, of course. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Kyrie Irving. And I was just thinking to myself, and take a minute before I ask you this question: is Kyrie Irving underrated or overrated? Because in some basketball conversations, I see Kyrie Irving getting compared to guys with obviously that have been the number one option and then succeeded being a number one option, at least bringing them to the conference finals. And otherwise, I see Kyrie Irving getting talked about as a skilled basketball player and one of the most skilled basketball players to ever touch the planet. And I think we all know that about Kyrie, but when you talk about basketball legacies and you talk about obviously the way he played on the court during his peak seasons, you have to question it, because he had his chance in Boston and Cleveland. We all know he played with the best player in the world and arguably one of the best player ever in LeBron James. And you have to look at it from a different aspect and say, what would Kyrie Irving's career be without getting that one championship? Because that one championship, yes, it holds a lot of weight, being the first 3-1 comeback ever. It's not like you were just the solidified Robin on that team, because Kyrie Irving was that player next to LeBron James that dropped 40 next to him, and not a lot of players in this NBA history, or the NBA history that we have so far, is doing that and consistently playing, or just saying, nobody on this court can guard me. And Kyrie Irving took it upon himself in 2016 to do that. But other than that, other than 2016, that was really the outlier season of what Kyrie Irving's career has been. And obviously, Kyrie Irving went back to the finals in 2024, and he just ultimately didn't show up. And that does bad on your legacy. And obviously Kyrie Irving getting compared to some players that have been the 1A, that obviously he's getting compared to Jalen Brunson a lot. And I feel like you can't even do that, because you can't have a conversation about a guy who's been consistently a 1A on his team. We saw Brunson when he was a 1B in that one half of a season, I guess, when he got moved up to the starting lineup and he showed out versus the Utah Jazz. We saw that. And then once he got to New York, we saw Jalen Brunson take the reins from Julius Randle. We seen just now Jalen Brunson lead the Knicks to an NBA championship. We didn't see Kyrie Irving do that during his peak basketball years. We saw Kyrie Irving leave a great Cavs team that was consistently in the finals, go to Boston and completely let down the team. Obviously, first year he got injured, him and Gordon Hayward. The second year he had no excuses. And then you go to Brooklyn and you take the back seat again and you got injured again. And you're next to Kevin Durant. And then you go to Dallas and you solidify yourself, saying you don't want to be the number one option. You're good with being a number 2 or a 1B type of situation. So you can't really say that. And other point guards all time, you can't really call Kyrie Irving quote unquote better than them. And you want to say skill wise, I guess I'll give it to you, but or even play style wise, yes. But when we talk about legacies and we talk about how they played the game of basketball, there is at least, in my head, 6 point guards that are probably better than Kyrie Irving all the time. And that's crazy to say. And I know a lot of people wouldn't even have Kyrie Irving on their top 10. At least I have Kyrie on my top 10. I'm not gonna lie. The way people have been talking about Kyrie recently is crazy. That's why I'm basically asking y'all the question whether y'all think he's underrated or overrated. Because at some portions, I do feel like, yes, some fans overrate him. But at the same time, we're acting like Kyrie Irving during his peak years was a scrub. And you really can't really make an argument whether Kyrie Irving could lead his team, because like we've seen in NBA history, Russell Westbrook hasn't led his team, but he has an MVP. Damian Lillard, I do feel like the Damian Lillard conversations can be had, but Damian Lillard led his Portland Trailblazers to the conference finals. Damian Lillard wasn't willing to take a back seat till he was like 32, 33, where he really wanted a ring to cement his legacy next to Giannis Antetokounmpo. And obviously we saw that it didn't work, and he went straight back to Portland, where he'll probably be the number 2 option to Denny Avdija next season. So hopefully you see Dame in a different light. And now you're seeing Kyrie Irving this season. I get it. We haven't seen Kyrie Irving play basketball in 1.5 years. So I guess we're going to forget. But I didn't forget what he was looking like when Luka Doncic got traded and then he had to step up and be that number one option. He looked great. It just wasn't a lot of help for him, and that's why I ultimately blamed the Dallas Mavericks for Kyrie Irving tearing his ACL in a video I made on my channel when that first happened. So when you look at Kyrie Irving as a player, yes, you could call him one of the best or one of the most skilled players of all time. Well, yes, you could probably call him the best ball handler of all time. But when we talk about legacies and talking about a player as obviously a winner, you can't call Kyrie Irving really that at all, and that's just a fact. And whether you want to ignore that or not, you can't obviously diminish what Kyrie Irving has accomplished in this NBA, because even without that championship, I'm pretty sure Kyrie Irving is still cemented as a 75th anniversary type of player, and he wasn't even on that list, which is kind of crazy. Still looking at it to this day, I did think his championship would take there, but obviously he's a 9-time All-Star, 2012 Rookie of the Year, and All-NBA selection multiple times, or 3 times to be exact, Olympic gold medalist. So when you look at his legacy, he does have Hall of Fame credentials, and if he were to retire right now, Kyrie would be a Hall of Famer. There's no question that. But when you talk about Kyrie Irving versus a player, it really gets hard to make that analogy, because if you're watching the game, you're just eyes on the screen, you're like, oh shit, there's not a lot of point guards that can do what Kyrie Irving does, and that's just a known fact. So when you're looking at obviously players and you look at his legacy, you just say, like, if he would have won as a number one option, that's when you say, okay. If he would have won at least an MVP, that's when you say, okay, that's when we do it. Because we've seen Chris Paul as a number one option, and obviously we still cement him as the top 5 point guard to ever touch a Wilson, ever touch a Spalding. So when you look at that, and you have to look at Kyrie Irving, you say, why can't he be considered that? That's what I feel like people are. I'm trying to make an argument for both sides, if you can't tell throughout this video. So I'm really trying to think throughout while I'm talking, is he underrated or overrated? Because I don't know. I feel like some player or some people that are fans of Kyrie are too obviously mind blown for what he does on the basketball court to see what it really is. And obviously, player for player, there's not a handful of guys, or I have 10 fingers, there's not 10 guys that in a 5v5 setting that I am taking over Kyrie Irving. Don't get it twisted, but to say that his legacy is obviously flawed is a thing you can say, and that's a thing that can be argued against Kyrie Irving when you talk about him in these legacy conversations about a player. But when we're talking about player versus player, I know, or even if you're going against Kyrie Irving, it is really hard for you to say that you don't want Kyrie Irving on your 5v5 team when you're playing NBA basketball, and that's just a known fact. So with that being said, I still don't have my answer. So I'm looking forward to y'all, or what y'all think. Do y'all think Kyrie Irving is underrated? Do y'all think he's a little bit overrated? Y'all let me know down below, and subscribe. What's good, y'all? If y'all made it to the end of this video, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And my last video is on your screen, and the channel icon's on your screen too. So click one of them if you want to continue watching my videos. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. It helps the algorithm push me out. And I appreciate y'all for watching this video nonetheless.